let's get right into AB 2334. Now, this is something I just wanted to share. I think Alex and I had met regarding this, and so far for the audience, this is really so the map that we're building right now is based off AB 2334, and why we're super excited about this bill in particular is it says if there is a discrepancy between the zoning and the land use designation, then you go with the higher density that's showing. And we walk through a couple sites in Chatsworth, in Silver Lake area, and we saw this is pretty prevalent actually, right? And so we're excited about this bill because when we ran the numbers and we looked at it, there were sites that 2x base density based on this. So like, oh, instead of 60 by right, you go 120 by right. Well, oh my God, that's amazing, because if you already are 2x that base, and then you start to use the density bonus program for that, or if it's TOC, then even better, then you're netting overall 100 units more. And we've identified multiple of these, some rarer sites, 4x density. Like, we have to do a double take and go, wait, really 4x density? But then it wasn't as much density as maybe the 2x that goes from 60 to 120, if that makes sense. So they kind of balance out. It's not, I'm not trying to communicate it's 4x density of 60, right, where you're getting 240, but it was lesser units that you could build, but nevertheless, you're still getting more base density. So that's kind of what we're super excited about, is if, LA City Planning kind of publish this, and we're monitoring what their guidance is. That's really what's important. What their guidance is on this bill. That's going to be a huge game changer, I think, for market rate developers, in that there's going to be more opportunity to put more doors than previously.
Well, and from what you're describing, when all of a sudden the density doubles,
Yeah.
that would probably be the most positive news for sellers. Because if I'm sitting on a site where I thought I could do 60 units,
right,
and let's say it's $10 million,
right,
and now it's 120 units,
right,
it's got to be, it has to be more.
yeah,
The only real consideration to follow is, and even like TOC,
right,
transit oriented communities,
when it first passed too.
Theoretically we have a site that has been designated as TOC 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Right.
And in that circumstance, people look at that and say, oh, well, it's TOC 3. I can get all this additional density. Boom, I'm ready to roll.
Right.
Well, you still have to take time, by the way.
Right.
You may have the right to do that. You have to still go pursue that right.
Exactly.
With a TOC site, you still have to go and get your team together, design. You have the architect do a massing density study to understand what it is, so that you can double check the math to see that you can take a site that may be by right 50, now could be 75, but I still need to go work through the site. You need site plan approval.
Right, of course.
You really need to spend those 6, 9, 12 months getting that site plan approval.
Right.
And this gets into, I'm a little conservative.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start, and a lot of the funds I've worked for don't have the right to go after a zoning case. They need to have entitlements in place.
I see.
So while you're going to get that pure, signed off right to that TOC 3, for example, before I would then say, okay, architect, structural engineer, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and the various 6, 7 other necessary specialty consultants, acoustical, waterproofing. I'm not going to have everybody, or until I know I'm moving through that system and I know I'm getting closer and closer to yes, then I might start peeling off and saying, okay, let's take the drawings to design development level. I've met with people who have, I'm like, oh, well, you don't have entitlements yet, so we could probably still work on the design a little bit. It's like, oh no, we can't, we're already finished with our drawings. I'm like, wow, you really went, while you're going through the entitlement phase, you had your architect and engineer finish all your drawings. I mean, that's very aggressive. That's what, nimble developers can do. Funds don't normally operate that way. They might have a division like Fund A
Right.
goes after entitlements, and once they've locked it up and they've controlled the process and the result is what they want,
Right.
then Fund B buys it from Fund A and implements the project, and then may even sell the building to Fund C. That's like a, like a core fund or a, something like, or a REIT.
Right.
So there's a way that a development company can control it from beginning to end using different funds, all under the same roof. But in most cases, people don't want to take that risk because they can't underwrite the risk.
Right.
Tell me when we're no longer in the public realm,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll tell you what I'll pay you.
Exactly. Good. Great point. Great point. And but at least out of the bills, there was one that passed that has a direction in positivity for developers and sellers, property owners alike. That's really what we're excited about.